You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I got to admit, when I woke up this morning, the one thing I did not have on my bingo card of topics was that Rob Gronkowski was going to come out and very publicly advocate for Mac Jones getting the hell out of New England because he, and by he I mean Gronk, feels like Mac has been disrespected, and because of that, essentially, Mac Jones should tell the Patriots to piss off and release him, and then be given the push in the direction that he should then go sign with the Cleveland Browns to replace Deshaun Watson for the rest of the season. But that's what this all-time great Patriot, a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Fame tight end, has come out and said. And you can tell it's very interesting. A lot of Patriot greats, they're not feeling great about what's happened with the Patriots, but this is the first time I can blatantly say I remember one coming out and saying that they shit on Mac Jones, which is basically what Gronkowski is saying here. And we will also get to a scenario in which Mike Florio lays out a path for Jimmy Garoppolo and Ryan Tannehill to also go to the Browns. So this is tied back into Deshaun Watson now being out for the year. And frankly, Watson has not played good this year anyway. But of the three names involved in this video, Mac, Jimmy, Tannehill, I kind of feel like Jimmy Garoppolo is probably the most reasonable and the scenario that makes the most sense. He's a quarterback that's made it to the Super Bowl on a team with a very good roster, so he's got that kind of, he's been to the playoffs multiple times. He's got that kind of experience to guide a team with a Super Bowl roster, which is what the Cleveland Browns have got right now. Now, would I love to see what Mac Jones would look like behind that Cleveland offensive line and with Kareem Hunt and Jacoby Ford and Amari Cooper and David, Njoku? Yeah, I would love to see what Mac Jones would look like in that scenario. But it also might not be a great scenario from a pressure standpoint to just be thrust into that too, not knowing Kevin Stefanski's offense. Let's look at this. Patriots legend Rob Gronkowski believes that Mac Jones' era with his beloved team has come to should come to an end. And if he had it his way, he'd do it immediately. Gronkowski spoke with Kay Adams on FanDuel's Up and Adams show on Wednesday, and he didn't hold back on Jones' situation as the Patriots are a lowly 2-8 on the year. Quote, if I was Mac Jones, he's not respected in New England, Gronkowski said. Coach Belichick has played all these games with him. Bailey Zappi isn't even close to being on Mac Jones's level. You should never, ever sit Mac Jones. You tried it once, you tried it twice, it's not working. Now he's doing it again. He won't name a starting quarterback, so he's slamming Belichick now. Gronkowski added, I think Mac Jones ultimately, even right now, should just go ask for his release. If you're talking to me about what he should do, ask for his release. Where exactly would Gronk like to see Jones next in the NFL? One playoff hunt team needs a quarterback. Quote, he should go sign with the Cleveland Browns and start a new career. Deshaun Watson requires season-ending shoulder surgery, forcing the 6-3 Browns to look elsewhere for a quarterback to take them to a hopeful playoff run. Stefanski said, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who I've been very high on, and I do think eventually he's going to take that job away from Deshaun Watson, I think. Jones has struggled this season through throwing for even 10 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, including an awful one against the Colts in Frankfurt, Germany. It's one of the worst passes I've ever seen. I just don't get it. It's crazy what has happened to Mac Jones. For his career thus far, Jones is 18-23 over 2.5 seasons, throwing 46 touchdowns to 34 interceptions. That is not a ratio that will keep you as a starting quarterback. Nonetheless, Gronkowski believes Jones would have everything he needs in Cleveland. Quote, I think he would fit. There's no doubt about it. He's got weapons around him. Then that would determine if Mac Jones is the real deal or not. I think he's a decent quarterback. I think he definitely will be in the NFL for a little bit. As for Belichick's future in New England, Gronkowski said his old coach is, quote, grandfather claused in. Basically, Belichick is bulletproof in his eyes no matter how bad the season ends. Wow. I mean, that's pretty wild. Coach Belichick is trying to find his new footing. We've talked about the fact, and look, the rumblings are going around out there right now that Belichick has already determined his next destination. And I think there's going to be some kind of a parting of the ways after the season. So there's that. All right, well, we covered Mac Jones. Now we got Florio, and he sets up the details on how in the hell Ryan Tannehill or Jimmy Garoppolo could end up on the Browns. Both players would have to pass through waivers, given the trade deadline has come and gone. Both players, given their contracts, would likely not attract a waivers claim. So he's saying other teams aren't going to pick up the two because of the salaries. Tannehill has $27 million in base salary for 2023. He has $12 million remaining. And if he's released and clears waivers, he could be entitled to collect the balance of the salary as termination pay. Garoppolo's salary for 2023 is $11.25 million. There's $5 million remaining. He has $11.25 million in fully guaranteed salary for 2024. If he's released and not claimed, the Raiders will be on the hook. Given the financial considerations, it's unlikely that anyone would claim either player on waivers. Thus, the Titans or the Raiders gain nothing by cutting their now benched starting quarterbacks. But what if the Browns get the word to either team that if the player is released, the Browns would claim the player on waivers? It would be unenforceable and most likely a violation of the rules. So what? Question mark. The stuff happens all the time. It absolutely happens behind the scenes. I mean, they'll put a little word out to the agent, yada, yada, yada. And some are saying right now that Jack Jones plotted his way out of New England to get to his old coach, Antonio Pierce, with the Raiders. If the Browns want either guy, there's a way to get the message to the teams that if they would be released, they would be claimed on waivers. Now, he's saying Tannehill makes the most sense, but it's because he's only under contract through the end of this year. There's no need for Garoppolo in 2024, given that Watson is expected back and ready to go next year. Yeah, but there's another way of looking at that. What happens if Watson is not fully healthy? And let's be real, Garoppolo would be a pretty damn good backup quarterback for Deshaun Watson if he does come back. And if he's not healthy and doesn't come back, you've got a guy on the team that led a team to the Super Bowl in the San Francisco 49ers. And in some weird ways, you know, this Browns team sort of reminds me of the 49ers. I'm a 49ers fan. You know, they run the ball. They play good defense. You get the point. All right? There are similarities between the Niners and the Browns. And Garoppolo, I think, makes some sense there. And of all the scenarios, maybe Tannehill is the most likely one. It just feels like Garoppolo makes a little bit more sense. And he's young. I think he's younger. He's 2 or 3 years younger than Tannehill. And look, Jimmy G was in a horrible situation. he's in a horrible situation now. You know? I mean, Tannehill really is in a pretty good situation with Mike Vrabel. But with the Raiders, Garoppolo's just laying there waiting to die, sort of. It's turned into a nightmare for Jimmy G with the Raiders. But, look, that's on Josh McDaniels. It may not have been a fit to begin with. It was a lateral move between Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo. So there's that. Tell me what you think, black and white sports supporters. The most surprising part of all this is that Gronk is essentially saying and just admitting, and him having played for Belichick, that Mac Jones has been screwed in New England, which is sort of a surprising take. You know, a lot of these ex-players have sort of tiptoed around the Belichick thing. Well, Gronk didn't, and he's saying Mac Jones should get the hell out of there. Belichick once coached in Cleveland, and if there's any chance, being the personnel guy that Belichick thinks for a second that Jones might end up in Cleveland, I don't think Belichick would release him. I don't think Belichick will release him anyway. I just don't. Because I think he'd be giving the kid what he wants, and I don't know that Mac Jones-Belichick relationship is so strange to me. He can't handle hard coaching despite coming from Nick Saban. That still doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And they drafted him. Josh McDaniels is not, he's a mother effer if there ever was one. He is as hardcore mother effer, and you see he wears people out with it. You know, he wore the Raiders out with it. So I still don't know about all of that. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.